This hour's happy, cause we got Kenny. He is from Missouri. There ain't nobody quite like Kenny. Oh yeah, watch him talk over coffee. He's got a Hall of Fame brother named Rusty. Oh yeah, girl, we finally got Kenny. We finally got Kenny. We're gonna talk to Kenny, gonna talk to Kenny.
Indeed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Happy Hour. My name is Trey Lyle. Joining me, as they do every week, Michael Massey, Dalton Hopkins, and I will say the legend, Kenny Wallace. Kenny, thanks so much for joining us. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're excited for what's in store. Tyler, I can't show your comment, but what is happening is we're going to have a conversation with Kenny Wallace for the next hour and talk about a lot. So I can't show your comment because I don't want to get in trouble, but we appreciate your comments in the front stretch garage. So we appreciate that. Fellas, how we doing? Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm doing great. We just got to be IT for Kenny. That was fun.
That was the most the most complicated. I don't think we've ever had that kind of complicated start to a happy hour opening in the history in 2.5 years of history of this show.
Good news, Kenny. We know you know where the Zoom button is now. So congratulations.
So, I was so worried. I was like, oh my God, are we gonna get this? Are we gonna get this in today, man?
I've done. I'm gonna do Tony Stewart tomorrow on Kenny Conversation. That will be 100 Kenny Conversations. Do all that stuff, and you can't believe the stuff that we run into. And I'm happy to hear, Dalton, that you guys panicked too. We had Daryl Waltrip on the line. Had Daryl, we could hear him, but we had to cancel because he was so old that he couldn't figure out. I said, man, you need to get one of your kids over there. But, that was crazy because we use StreamYard all the time. But my StreamYard, I guess, is maximum peak. We had to bring it down so I could find the got it button and get in.
So clearly a step up tomorrow from us. So like Tony Stewart, us, but we appreciate the time tonight. Tony just got a one on the dragster, so it's not shocking. Tony Stewart wins a race, pretty good, but that happened this weekend amongst a bunch of other things that we're going to talk about. But Kenny, obviously, you just came back from working with the dirt car. That's what you said before we got on the air and before we jumped through 600 hoops. What is it like still? Just, you're kind of going old school with it. Still working on the car, racing every weekend, pretty much. How's that been for you?
It's so much fun. I love racing. What's funny? Today on Herman Schrader, I brought up this topic with Kenny Schrader. I said, I really expected Jeff Gordon to be like Ricky Rudd and Bill Elliott. I expected Jeff Gordon to fade away because Jeff never liked racing anything except NASCAR. Jeff Gordon never wanted to do any extra events. He didn't want to just do anything. So when Jeff went into TV, and now he's at the damn racetrack every week. So my point is this. You asked me about my dirt car. Rader said it perfect about Jeff Gordon. He said, when did Gordon retire? I said, like 42. He said, well, what was he going to do with the rest of his life? I'm like, exactly. So it's funny when athletes retire, they're not even halfway through their life. So I'm 61 and I know I'm a racing son of a bitch, boys. I race. I do everything myself. We built race cars, but then if that wasn't enough, we run fourth on Saturday night, 5:30 in the morning. My buddy's got an airplane. We took off and went to Bristol and did Trackside Live. And that was awesome. We had Johnny Bench on there and Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon. So I slept good on Sunday night.
Yeah, that made me happy when you guys a couple years ago brought back the Trackside Live, because that just felt like such a, it was there was a hole in the NASCAR community when that wasn't around for a while. And like, I mean, that's the first time I got on TV, was being in the crowd holding the sign up out there.
Yeah, he was the monkey holding the beer.
Yeah.
You know that?
Speed?
No, he was that monkey. He was the actual monkey. That's why he still had the facial hair.
Yeah.
Michael, you're a great singer.
Well, thank you, Kenny.
You did a really good job. And what's funny is your generation, you could hear like some of that new up to date, tone. But good job. That was awesome. That took balls. Yeah.
It's not Michael Massey. You just got introduced to Puke Combs.
That's my alter ego.
An artist that we're trying to get signed. So if you know anyone, we tried to convince Josh Balicki for Bristol to make him his entrance music. That didn't work out as well, but we're still working on it.
Kenny, we need you to come out of retirement and race Bristol next time, so you can use that as your entrance song. The driver.
I have so Al Unser Jr. He's won the Indy 500, and he says, "Man, I have a song of the day all the time." And we never know how these songs come. You wake up in the morning, and you're just waking up, and you're doing your deal, and you could just hear something. And my song of the day is, "I've never been to Spain now." Well, I've never been to Spain now.
Elvis,
and I kind of like the music. The ladies are insane now. So, I mean, I'm wearing that son of a bitch out today.
That's good. That was Elvis, right? Isn't that Elvis Presley?
Yeah, hold on. Let me, my buddy sent it to me today. Elvis has got a great version on YouTube.
Oh, for sure.
What happened to it?
I don't know if we can play that on here or not.
Oh my God. You guys remind me of Charlie Marlowe, my YouTube manager. I'm like, Charlie, screw the rules, man. And NASCAR's going, Kenny, it's okay. You can stand in front of the TV because, you promote the sport. If I do anything in front of my TV while the race is going on, Charlie, who runs my YouTube, he's like, you can't do that. Then Mike Davis from Dirty Mo, they're all in footstep. It's like they must have got fined one time doing something wrong because, Trey, they follow the rules like you.
Sometimes. I mean, I am airing a current old school NASCAR race behind me, so we'll see if we stretch we stretched. Well, it's definitely taped. I mean, if this is live, then we're in a time machine. If you want to guess the race in the comment section down below, I will say this: it relates to what we're going to talk about, and it relates to our guest, and that's all I'll leave it at. It's a Michael Massey guest. That's a good start.
I just saw
that entry getting into. No, there's a wall there.
You're right. It's Rockingham. It's a very.
I just saw Hank Parker Jr. on there on that ticker there.
You only get a corner. I can turn it more.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. No, it's a bush race.
Oh, is that Newman?
That's a race I won.
That is.
That is Ryan. That's Ryan. He sat on the pole and I qualified second.
Yeah. I think you like the end of it. I'm just going to phrase it at that.
Oh,
incredible.
man.
Green, white checker. Hey, listen to this. Listen to this. Well, I'm going to tell you what I just put on X. I said to everybody on X, I said, y'all need to take a massive fucking break from bitching and moaning about a NASCAR race. Ain't nobody worried about that bullshit. The fucking place fits 155,000 people. You dumbasses never stop.
Picture of you sipping coffee, man.
Yeah, did you see it? Did you see it?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Wait, I got it. I get it.
I mean, the place fits 155,000 people, and they're like, Bristol's empty. I'm like, shut up.
You could have double the crowd of Phoenix, and it would still look empty.
There it is. Yeah. who's editing this video? Whoever's rest in peace. Whoever's editing this video, we might not
The
even
whole
edit
show's
it.
That would be
gonna
Trey.
Leave it all.
I have not given an ass chewing to X like that in a long time. These people just never stop. Never. It's like we had 4 races in a row, right? We had Daytona, we had Atlanta, we had Circuit of the America. All these races, photo finishes. You have 2 races in a row where William Byron dominates, and then here we have Kyle Larson dominate. And now they want to change the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, go home and go to bed. Jesus.
Oh,
I guess I can show Tyler's
wow.
comment. Tyler, I can show your comment now, I guess.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
He
we
said,
had-
what the fuck is happening? This podcast is designed to
Guys,
curse.
there's nobody.
You're
that use- I've had my ass chewed out my whole life for cussing. I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna get some text from Tom Bowles. We're like, Tom,
Beep it. Beep it out.
That's why you just do. Well, we're live. We're live streaming.
we're
this.
live. We're live.
We're
right
live.
No.
Live.
It's
Raw.
fine.
with Kenny
Okay,
Wallace.
Hold on.
We're good.
The FCC won't let me be.
No,
Let
we're
me
not-
be.
we're
Let
not-
me, so let me see.
So
The
I
FCC
apologize.
doesn't cover YouTube, so we're good.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
FCC doesn't cover YouTube.
I just want to know, how did you make it on Fox and Speed and all those years not being
Yeah.
able to say those words?
I get asked that question all the time.
Oh.
And they say, Wallace, how you stay on TV with all that cussing you do, boy? You got a
Was that
potty
Jeff
mouth.
Burton asking you?
Yeah. Hey, we just got done
Ward.
interviewing Ward. Ward's going to be on Thursday. He was a great interview. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So people said, how did you do TV and not cuss? I'm like, it's pretty simple. You can't. I'm comfortable around you boys, so I can say what I want to say.
Good.
Well, we
I'm glad
appreciate that.
We appreciate that 100%.
Let's get into this. Sit back, relax, crack open that cold one, unless you're driving, of course, or if you're driving, because you're at frontstretch.com, we ask for responsibility. Caleb is not here this week. He was at Bristol. He's so tired and he's so full of Long John Silvers that he's not here with us as our lovely producer. So I'm riding solo as the producer tonight, as well as the host. But you touched on it, and Bristol is a hot and heavy topic. Isn't that right, Dalton?
My goodness, I am so glad that Kenny led us into that, because, and I've echoed it in our text chats earlier today. I think everyone is overreacting just a little bit with what happened on Sunday. So let's just get into the nitty-gritty of it. We'll hear all the opinions, but everyone saw Kyle Larson whoop the field and lead 411 laps, and now they're saying that this car needs to change. All of a sudden, it is the common. We have to get away from this knee-jerk reaction of anytime we see a race that doesn't absolutely excite us, doesn't drive us insane, that doesn't have an exciting finish, an exciting winner, we suddenly need to change the sport. Something needs to change. And it kind of leads me into my opinion of, I think NASCAR fans are probably some of the most spoiled fans in all of sports. Because I know Sunday's race wasn't an absolute banger, but I think Dale Jr. said it best one time. You're not going to have a home run every race. Sometimes a guy's going to spank the field. It's just inevitable. It's going to happen. It has to happen. You're going to see something like that. I don't think Bristol's race on Sunday was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I think there could be some things to be said about the next-gen car, but I don't think it was the worst thing I've ever seen ever, and I don't think the next-gen car needs to be done away with completely just because we had one or two, a couple of bad races. I'll leave that floor open to you guys. Kenny, I have to hear what you got to think about this. Go ahead. Go wild, man.
Go off.
As Schrader would say, in 1900 shit, Darrell Waltrip won 7 races in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my thought. I am a positive mental attitude person. When I came out of my mama's womb, I was like, hey, life. I love life. And I was born like that. Our Cardinals, the baseball Cardinals beat Philly yesterday 7-0. was awesome. There is a societal shift where, like, when we do our YouTube shows, we know that thumbnails and controversy sell. So we'll push the button. You know, the Enquirer, you guys are too young. There was a newspaper years ago. It was a comical newspaper. It's called the Enquirer. And it was like Elvis and Sasquatch meet each other in the woods. And it was so ridiculous that people would buy it. Like, oh my God, Jesus. So this is where we're at in society nowadays. You have 4 good races in a row, and the ratings are up. There's like 1 million, 2 million more people watching. That was the best ticket sales at Bristol in ages. And the fans, it is the sport of bitching and moaning. They love it. When there's a good race, it's crickets. You don't hear anything. You don't hear nothing. Mm-hmm. But the ability for all of us to get on social media is so awesome. I mean, just getting on there and talking shit is so much fun. And you know, and people sit there and they go, NASCAR, I hate NASCAR, it sucks. And then they push send and like, that's right, I'm the man.
My favorite one is I'm not watching next week. I'm not watching anymore. That's my favorite one. I've seen that so many times in the past 2 days.
Next week?
Yeah. When's Rockingham?
Yeah.
My favorite quote about people like that who just turn negative on Twitter is from Charles Barkley. He's like, I know y'all are sitting at home in your grandma's basement in your underwear, in your drawers. And that's like the image I will always have with these negative people.
Who are these people? Who are they? Has anybody ever seen a demographic of them or anything?
They're
Brian Nolan. They look like Brian Nolan.
Show me what he looks like.
Kenny, don't open this can of worms, please.
He works with us here. Just to add some context.
He is our other podcast host. He's a very, very interesting figure.
He was with me at Vegas. I don't know if he was with me.
He was just at Long Beach, actually. We love Brian.
Oh yeah, let me see him.
Yeah,
he looks like he
ugly as sin.
So does he like complaining?
No. He is an optimistic human being. Believe me.
He is an optimistic. He likes complaining. He likes complaining about us.
He actually reminds me of you. Like he's very outgoing and very positive.
He's like a younger you.
But that's
yeah. I mean, it's like the Bristol race is over. We've had back-to-back Bristol races that nobody likes. This Bristol race was identical to the last one. No cautions. Kyle Larson dominates. And I just totally believe it's I just watched a clip from Actions Detrimental. And Denny Hamlin says NASCAR's to blame for everything. They can fix this car. NASCAR needs to let them. They didn't do enough testing. And that's fine. Okay. But the moral of the story is that we just had 4 races in a row. And I'm going to tell you, Goodyear can help. They can help. So Denny Hamlin knows what he's talking about. He's driving that race car. And Denny Hamlin always says that NASCAR won't listen to him and that they need to let them fix this car. Now, what does that mean? I mean, what does it mean? What are you going to do to it? I don't know. All I know is this. When the Cardinals lose a game, I don't get on there and just, I don't know. It's just weird to constantly complain. There's something, when people complain all the time, you just want to look at them and go, do you hear yourself? So that's my take on Bristol.
I do wonder. So Massey and I were both at the last spring race where we had insane tire wear we've never seen in an next-gen car, and you had tires blowing and cords, and then we got a taste of that on Saturday in practice because the practice conditions matched the race conditions from last year where it was cold, and Massey was like, I have hope we're gonna have tire wear, and I said, no, we're not, the sun's out. And I think if do you think, and we can ask the group here, if Saturday doesn't happen where we have this, like the tire wear we saw a year ago, does the fan backlash happen as much? Because I don't think so. I just think, I mean, sometimes there's blowouts in sports, okay? You know what? I will say this. NASCAR picked the right day to have a blowout, because if they had an exciting race on Sunday, not a lot of people are going to be watching it compared to if it was like a bygone weekend, because the most insane Masters Sunday was happening at the same time. There was a lot of stuff going on. So you want to have your boring races when a lot of stuff's going on, and your exciting races when you can be the focus. And I will save an exciting race when NASCAR can be the full focus on a Sunday, like it will be for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I do think I think it played into it a little bit. It got people's hopes up a little bit with the tire wear. And that was the one thing I was disappointed in, was that one run where you had some guys pit and they had like 50 lap fresher tires, and they just couldn't. Blaney was the only one that cracked the top 10. And I mean, the leaders had like 125 laps on their tires, and these guys had 75, and they still couldn't pass them. So I would like to see, we need to just, I'm joking when I say this, put a roof on top of Bristol and then climate control that thing, make it cold all the time. So the tires always wear like they did the last spring. But no, I would like to see it, you know, the way it was Saturday is probably too excessive of tire wear. And like, you don't want a race like that's at fun every once in a while, but you really don't want that every single week, I don't think. So if there's like some kind of middle ground for the tire wear, I think that would help some. But I still think, like, look at the Bristol races. I think it has more to do with the track right now than the car. Because look at the Bristol races of like 10 years ago. I remember one where it was like Joey Logano led the whole thing. And that was back when you were riding the wall the whole time and you just couldn't pass. And I thought, like, at least this one with the PJ1 and stuff, you could move around. There were some different lanes you could go to. So I thought it was better than some of those races. It's just when they made it so you had the different, what's the word I'm looking for with the banking. When they carved it up like the transitional bank. Yeah.
Like the degree.
Yeah, it was different degrees for each lane. The old school Bristol people remember was kind of gone. I think that's the one thing it was kind of missing, was the beating and banging. But that hasn't been Bristol for 20 years. So I don't know. I think people are clinging on to these good old days. But if you go back and watch those good old days, you'd have Dale Earnhardt leading the whole thing, Darrell Waltrip winning 7 straight. But I guess further in the pack, you did have some beating and banging, some drama going on. And I always think of, like, Brad Keselowski said this several years ago, and I think it's a good analogy, that in racing, it's kind of like turnovers in football, where like 2 to 4 wrecks in racing is entertaining, and anything less than that, or anything more than that's silly. Anything less than that is boring to fans. Like turnovers in football, if you don't have any turnovers in the game, people might be kind of bored by that. If you have too many, it's sloppy. So I don't know. That's just me trying to.
No, listen, I got to tell you about this. Me and Schrader talked about this today. You are a young man. That's where we're at in society today.
Okay, let's get this straight. Michael Massey is not a young man.
How old are you, Michael?
I'm 70 years old.
In our minds, he is.
I'm 33.
You're 33. You're the perfect reason. And I mean this nice. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself?
I hear myself.
I mean, in a good way. We're having fun here. You're like, more than 4 turnovers is too much, but we need some turnovers. But sometimes it's too much turnover. But we want turnovers.
Yeah.
But not that.
I'm just playing. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. But no, and I'm going with you. That is exactly where we're at. When a race goes green to checkered and there's no caution, I hate NASCAR.
Yeah.
When they wreck and they wipe the field out at Talladega, it's a shit show. I hate NASCAR. See what I mean?
But you
like,
can't manufacture that.
It's like when Gluck started, was it a good race or not?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I've always been consistent. I said, since when did we start judging things? We used to say, man, did you watch the Masters? Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose, they went into a playoff, and you know, McIlroy hit a shot and got lucky. It rolled right back down to the hole, and Rose hit a great shot too. That was one to never forget, that one. But then there's, you know, Tiger Woods would win some of these by 15 strokes.
Mm-hmm.
But you never heard that it was a bad golfing match. What did we say? Oh my God, Tiger's Woods great. Tiger's great. So yesterday
we just saw in the Super Bowl, we saw a literal one-sided beatdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to me, what I'm saying right now, to me, is literally where we're at in life. So we saw an ass whipping by Kyle Larson, and nobody's happy about it, but they were happy when Tiger Woods gave him an ass whipping because we were witnessing greatness. Same thing with Kyle Larson. We are witnessing greatness. Kyle Larson is whipping their ass. That is his track. And he has led 878 laps out of 1,000. He led 473 laps out of 500. That's going to be a boring race. That's all there is to it, you know. But for third and fourth, you know, Ty Gibbs and Chase Briscoe were going at it. When you get somebody that puts an ass whipping on them like Tiger Woods did and wins by 15 strokes, but back then it was great because it was a phenomenal player. We're witnessing unbelievableness. But in racing, I think that our crowd is so old. When I go to these racetracks, these people are so old that they are just mad that we lost Earnhardt and Dale Jr. don't race, and they love the sport so much that they're just pissed. That's what I really think, my heart of all hearts.
And they didn't appreciate greatness when it was here. They booed Jeff Gordon. They booed Jimmy Johnson.
They hate Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
It's funny because the only people that appreciate Jimmy Johnson are like, you know, Jimmy Johnson does all these, you know, Goodwood over there and wherever. And when Jimmy Johnson goes to these celebrations of greatness, that's the only time they think he's great. The fans don't even know who he is. They're like, Jimmy Johnson, he was boring. He dominated. All he did was, that guy won, 5 championships in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. That's unbelievable. Jimmy Johnson should be 100 times more popular than he is right now. Only our little cult, you know, Jimmy Johnson, he was over here at 10 Tenths over at Charlotte Motor Speedway, you know, and they had all the legends there, and they're like, oh, Jimmy Johnson. But the fans don't even care about him. And that's horrible. And that's society nowadays.
Yeah, I wonder, you talk about like, to me, like someone achieving greatness is always like, it's what fascinates me about like watching, you know, I'm going to get a basketball reference here, but watching LeBron James still play as a top 10 to 15 player in the world at 40 years old. It's like, this man is doing something we've never seen a human do. I think if Larson, you know, he falls one spot short in that truck race, if he gets the truck win here and completes the sweep of the weekend, is this viewed differently? Like Kyle Larson puts an exclamation point on a weekend sweep. I'm calling it the Kyle Busch sweep because since Kyle Busch is the only one off the top of my head that's done it, swept all 3 series in one weekend and got it done.
Yeah. I think people would be rooting for that if
would it be looked on more positively this weekend?
If he had won the Truck Series race, that story would have outshone the story of what was perceived to be a boring race at Bristol. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, though, is that it seems like fans nowadays, and Kenny has already kind of touched on it, fans nowadays, they need something to get on social media to talk about. And if they don't have anything to talk about, it must be a boring race. And clearly we need to complain about that. I'm really, really, really tired of seeing people say something has to change. Something has to change. This has to change. We got to change this. NASCAR, do something. Change this. We've been doing this for the last 10 years where we see one race that's not that great and suddenly everything, we need a complete overhaul of everything. And that's why we've had 3 different cars in the last decade, or excuse me, the last 15 years. It's got to stop. I mean, because I know, like this race wasn't an absolute banger. It's not going to be something that I'm going to remember for decades to come. But you know what race I will remember for decades to come? Was last year's spring race at Bristol, which was with the next-gen car. And by the way, was won by somebody who was arguably not an exciting winner with Denny Hamlin. So
He makes it exciting.
He makes it exciting, sure. But I am so tired of this knee-jerk reaction. I think it's just – I don't know what it is when you're watching a NASCAR race, but it seems like it gives you this short-term memory or this long-term memory loss where you just forget anything that happened 2 weeks prior to that. All that matters is the race that's happening right in front of you right now. I promise you this weekend, or excuse me, after next weekend at Talladega, nobody's going to remember anything about this. No, Bristol won't even be talked about at all. No one's going to talk about the short track. No one's going to care. No one's going to care. It's recency bias. It is the number one thing that is plaguing the sport right now, I personally believe.
You know, I just keep giving examples. I always talk about this societal shift. You know, societal means society has changed so much. So when I ran in the Xfinity series, you know, same series, they just called it the Busch series because it was sponsored by Busch Beer. Then we had Then we had Nationwide. Then we got it all same, you know. When I raced in it, I raced Dale Sr., Kenny Schrader, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, Ernie Irvin. I raced, you know, these Cup guys were in all these Xfinity races, and we loved it. And then, you know, there was a couple times, you know, that I was able to outrun these guys. 1994, Richmond. I looked in my mirror, and there's Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Mark Martin, and then Winn-Dixie Ford. I won. It was the most glorious win of my life. So today on Dirty Mo Media, they have Kyle Larson on there today. And Kyle Larson says, I'm going to say something. Did you all see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to say something that sounds a little.
He wants to kick the Xfinity drivers' butts.
He said, I want to kick their ass and I want to embarrass them in NASCAR. Here's why. Because you get these Xfinity drivers that think they're in a good place. And he says, no, you're not. You're not even ready to come to the Cup Series. I just put a 16-second lead on you. When you can race me, now you're ready for Cup. And that's the way it was in my day. Now the fans yell, those Cup drivers shouldn't even be able to race in the lower level. It's like taking candy from a kid. Bingo. You just said it. You know, that's it. But the thing is the Xfinity drivers, in my day, we were supposed to move up to Cup, and we did. These Xfinity drivers, they want those guys to race against them because if they run with them, then it shows they're ready for Cup. But you know, the fans bitched so much that it made NASCAR react and make a rule and go, okay, Cup drivers can't race.
Can't do the playoffs.
Well, you think about it, like back when Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin came into the sport, they won races. When they came into Cup, they won races right away, were great as rookies because they were competing against those Cup drivers in the Busch series. Whereas like William Byron, Chase Elliott, it took them 100 races to win. I don't think they're ready because they're not going against the.
And I know Briscoe didn't win right away, but like, what was the moment that made Briscoe a Cup driver, or like the reason like he should replace Boyer at SHR? It's when he beat Kyle Busch at Darlington, like of all places. Like not just the fact that you won at the arguably the hardest track in the series, you beat maybe the most talented guy we've seen next to the other Kyle. So
the winningest driver of the series also.
Yes. Yes, that too. As I've gotten older, I was like one of the fans who was like, oh, I kind of don't want the Cup drivers in the Xfinity Series, and I didn't appreciate Jimmy Johnson fully as like there might be a Facebook post where I said I'm never watching NASCAR again when I was like 10 after Jimmy Johnson wins his 5th straight championship. Granted, I was glued to the TV for the Daytona 500 right after, but as I've gotten older, and maybe because I've just grew up, like got to cover this sport, I kind of want to see the things I didn't want. I want to see those more. I want to see Kyle Busch race in Xfinity, and I want to see. Maybe I don't want them necessarily to go for the championship, but to see them, to race as often as they can. Like there should be plenty of Cup guys racing at Rockingham this weekend. That would be awesome to see because it's an old school track. And here's another thing. The Xfinity Series produces better racing than the Cup Series most weekends. So I would like to see the guys who are the most talented, in my opinion, the best car they got going.
Yeah.
Years ago, I'll say this. The racing years ago, the front ends of the cars were off the ground. Insert whatever you think they were off the ground, They were off the ground. To get specific, I've always said to myself that why didn't NASCAR let the cars get so low? I think it's good that the cars should be off the ground. And, this is this type of racing. They should be off the ground and they should slide up the track. Pushing should be pushing. You should turn the wheel and it pushes. Nowadays, they turn the wheel 1/8 of an inch and like, oh, I'm pushing. So in that race car, all you hear all the time is, oh, these cars handle so good. And, everybody's so close. So I don't know. I just think everything is awfully efficient and and it's a hard thing to accomplish. You're trying to create a show by designing an airplane on the ground. You want this thing to fly, but you want it to stay on the ground. You want the perfect aerodynamic. And so I just really feel like when I race dirt, our cars are everywhere. You know what I mean? We slide across the track and we're looking for options. And man, these guys, if they miss their marks nowadays, we are so efficient. You know what I mean? So perfect. You hear these drivers talk about, they're in the 8-second pit stops now. And, I got to come in. I got to hit my marks. Wow. This NASCAR is, and let me say this. When I say, let me say this, that means I have a new idea. Do you guys ever watch Formula One?
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't even race.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even race.
Yeah.
And the only reason people like Formula One is because they party. They got Red Bull. The race is over here.
They got a Netflix series.
Mm-hmm.
And the cars are cool. But they don't even race. It's not even a show. The show is outside the racetrack. And that's not even an argument. That people are like, the girls got their makeup on and it's a very wealthy experience. And they love it. Our fans, they bitch that they got to spend $60. You know what I mean? Us NASCAR people, we're all poor. Their show's not perfect. But over here, they're spending $5,000 to go to Vegas. And they love it. And the car comes by and goes, and that's it. But they got to gamble, and you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Formula One, they're racing a different country every week. And they don't even race. It's like practice. It is a strange, people are strange. It's hard to get into that psyche. I go to the St. Louis Blues game, the hockey games. I love hockey. I get up, I go to the bathroom, and half of the people are in the concourse at the Jim Beam. They're drinking liquor. I'm like, what the hell is going on with our sports? So we are in that environment, guys. It is stranger than all get out.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it was, like in the 2000s, going to races when kind of like when you had huge crowds was some people didn't even make it to the race. They'd be out at the campground too hungover to actually make it.
He won.
Yeah.
I'll be there by the end, man.
Hey, you guys, I just got to. You guys are like therapy for me, so thank you.
Problem.
Let me ask a simple question, and it's not my show, but I want to go around the horn here. I feel like I have a reason why. Why do fans care about how many people are in the grandstands? Why do they care?
It's ugly on TV. I think, to me, that's the number one thing. It's ugly. It's ugly on TV, and that's like the one thing I could think of. Because I'm gonna spoil some people. The tracks are making more money from the TV than they are the ticket sales. That's in all of sports, like typically. But I think it's the not seeing, like it looks ugly on TV. That's at least my opinion.
Yeah, I think that if you turn on the race and you see, if you're not a NASCAR fan, you're just flipping channels and happen to stumble upon it, and you see just this empty grandstand, scatter people throughout it, then maybe you're like, well, nobody even wants to go to this. Why do I want to watch this? That's just my thought. But that's why I think we should do more stuff like the Bowman Gray thing. Like, go to these little short tracks and put 10,000, that only seat 10,000 people, and cram the thing in there. But that'll never happen.
Schrader said that today. I said, why are we going back to these racetracks? He goes, look at what we did. We went to Bowman Gray, and what did it fit? Did it fit 10,000? The Xfinity race is sold out Saturday, 32,000 people.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing.
I said it looks ugly.
Yeah.
What do you do? Take out the seats? Because they put Tennessee and Virginia in there, and they put 100.
Virginia Tech. Okay, don't get us mixed up with those.
These guys are Virginia Tech alums.
Don't get us mixed up with those.
They're still in the Civil War. I raced it. I ran at Beckley. I ran Beckley twice and I won. And the TV people come there and I go, I'd really like Virginia. And the guy put the camera down. He goes, Kenny, I was talking to Hermie Sadler. I said, Hermie, what is the deal? You guys are still fighting a damn Civil War there. Virginia and West Virginia. There was a big difference. I'm like, what is it? What is it?
Virginia. So Virginia Tech, it's unique. We hate the University of Virginia, and we also hate West Virginia. University.
I'm learning.
That's our two rivals. We're the
I'm actually wearing the shirt right now.
the Hokies.
So I want to show you guys something. I'm going to show you something. Hold on. So you see, I got these files. Okay, it says Herman Schrader.
Those like top secret files right there.
Hold on. Yeah.
It's way more organized than what we have.
There's a method to my madness here. Hang on. Kenny conversation right here. Hold on. Kenny conversation. So when I prepare to interview people, right, I work hard. So I just got done interviewing Ward Burton. You see all these questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
South Boston.
Those are called topics. And I go down these topics. Okay. Don't you guys have topics?
We did.
We do, actually, yeah.
What, are you ignoring them or what?
Well, we were
letting you go.
We were just letting you go. We kind
We're
of
letting you go, man.
Hey, dumbasses. I got your private chats right over here. I was just
Trey.
running
You
your
know he
fucking
can
mouth.
see that.
You fucking assholes. You
No,
invite
no,
hey,
no,
listen,
no, no.
You invite
Kenny.
me. You invite me on the show, and let me tell everybody. Trey at 706 says, "What the fuck is the last comment?" Then Mikey goes, "Yeah, that was weird."
No, that
What
was the Facebook comment.
There's this comment, Kenny. We can't share it, but it's this comment. Okay, I'm gonna share it. Here it is. This is
Oh,
what
yeah.
I said.
Read this, Kenny.
You can read this. This is what I said. What the F to?
Okay, Brian Musial. Hi there. I can drive my driver's license and I can travel all the way my clients. If you are really interested about that, babe, I will send you my rules and get your location, or we're going to meet. I mean, okay, I get it, but what does the driver's license got to do with anything?
I guess I don't know.
It's
It's either a scam or I don't know.
Yeah.
What's
That's
going
what
on,
made me
man.
yell. That's what made me go, what?
Yeah,
No, I
we
meant
were talking about
we're
you.
ignoring. I didn't mean that as a bad thing. I meant that like we're just like we're going. Like
What's the
we're-
topic, boys?
Kenny,
So-
2 weeks ago, Michael Massey, or about 3 weeks ago, Michael Massey said, "Hey, we can get Kenny Wallace. I talked to Kenny Wallace and he wants to come on."
No, I didn't say I want to come on.
Okay.
Michael said, "Will you come on our show?" I said, I'd
Okay.
love to.
I said, I remember saying we should just let Kenny talk. Just let him go. Like, forget the topics. Ask him one question. Just let him talk for 55 minutes, and then that's the end.
We're at 45 minutes. All right. So something I know you're very excited about.
This is awesome.
is our second topic, which we do have written down. I promise. We have a no sheet.
We did do the first topic.
We did.
We did the first two. The first topic, by the way, was just Kenny Wallace. Nothing else. Just Kenny Wallace.
And then the second was Bristol. This is the third. So Massey, talk about the return of the Rock, and it's not Dwayne. It's
of
the racetrack.
Dwayne Johnson Speedway.
Rockingham Speedway. It's back this weekend. NASCAR Xfinity Series, Craftsman Truck Series, ARCA Menard Series, all in action this weekend. Sounds like Xfinity's already sold out, so you can't go to that if you want to. Maybe some scalpers are selling or something, but if you can get your tickets for the truck race or ARCA or whatever, watch it on TV. I think it's going to be exciting. I think the place is going to be packed, and I hope it doesn't matter. It's like when we went back to North Wilkesboro. It doesn't matter if it's a thrilling race or not. Just the fact that we're back at this place and the atmosphere would be awesome, I think is enough. And, look, we revived it a little over a decade ago. We came back to Rockingham.
And nobody showed up.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. That's what I think we need to see happen is people need to actually show up for it this time. And you can keep this thing on the schedule. Maybe it even gets a cup race. Kenny, what do you think about this this Rockingham revival?
Yeah,
Take two.
I'm trying to figure out why they sold 32,000 seats for an Xfinity race on Saturday. Schrader brought it up today. Could be the biggest crowd of the year for Xfinity, and it's just feel good. So what? Thursday night from 4 to 9, okay, April 17th, Thursday night, 4 to 9, Thunderfest, downtown Rockingham. The city of Rockingham wants this back, guys.
Yeah.
They get government money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you got the Marshall Tucker band. You got myself and Schrader. We're flying down there. It's no different than Wilkesboro. Listen, the Wilkesboro race was god awful.
Hey, who dominated that race? So wasn't it Kyle Larson?
Yeah.
Or one of the years it was Joey Logano.
Yeah.
But there's another damn example. It was a party.
Mm-hmm.
We were all there. Man, where's Earnhardt?
Speakeasies.
Earnhardt's in his late model stock. Crowd went nuts. So I mean, the thing is that 32,000 people at Rockingham on Saturday is because it's all old people, and they miss it, and they just want to feel something, I mean, 32,000 people, that's a lot of damn people, man. I mean, Busch Stadium is standing room only at 50,000 for the World Series. I mean, the big house for Michigan, what is that? 90,000. Okay, 110. Well, they put 135,000 in at Bristol for your Virginia and Tennessee. They're hoping to set a record for Atlanta and the Reds. What Virginia is it?
Tech.
You like?
Virginia Tech.
You like Virginia Tech? Okay.
That's who played Tennessee in the game.
So
we don't need to bring up the game. They fumbled 5 times and lost to Tennessee. Speaking of the,
but we want fumbles.
Not
no,
five,
massive
no, beautiful.
2 to 4 turnovers. That's what the enigma, the
Brian is
algorithm says.
asking, Kenny, what's your expectations for the track? I'm not sure about the repave.
So the repave was done a year or two ago. So it's got some time on it, But the problem is you're not going to see that high groove like the old days. You know why? Because they got the cars smashed down now. The great racing at Rockingham was when our cars were in the air, 5 inches off the ground. And we'd go in, and after new tires were out, you'd slide up. And that was awesome, And nowadays, who knows how it's going to race? I'm sure if it's not perfect, they'll let us know.
I have faith in the Xfinity Series delivering something, because it's just, to me, it's the most entertaining racing. I would argue, like, in the world, but definitely in NASCAR. Even though we get the shit shows that we see, in Martinsville, typically, some good racing gets produced in the Xfinity Series in good finishes.
Yeah, and you got Casey Kane back. Casey Kane's going to be out there.
Well, if he does well,
yeah,
it'll be very popular.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know what? I think Kenny said it best. I don't think it's going to matter. I really this first iteration, this first race that we have there, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters if this race is going to have a bunch of different lead changes, a bunch of incidents or what have you, really a competitive race, because we're back at Rockingham. When I was in South Carolina, when I was in Darlington 2 weeks ago, Trenton and we stayed at a hotel in Rockingham. And I remember walking in and seeing a sign that said, "Welcome NASCAR fans." And I'm like, oh, wow, okay, they're welcoming the Darlington Raceway fans in here. No. It said, "Welcome NASCAR fans to The Rock." And it said, it had the logo and everything. And I'm like, this race is 3 weeks out. And we're already
Brian with a great comment. It means people in the betting community.
That's fair. I'm not a part of that community, Brian. We're equals. It means to us the betting community. But regardless, I think it's very interesting because this community, these fans are coming together just like they did at North Wilkesboro. They're just excited that NASCAR is back. In this racing community that's always been there, is just happy that even though it's not even the Cup Series, it's the Xfinity and Truck Series and ARCA, and they're back. They're at this racetrack racing again, and it could mean a positive future moving forward. And not to mention, they already sold so many tickets for the Xfinity Series. They sold 32,000, which already shows that this race has been successful, regardless of how it goes.
And it's 32,000 on Easter weekend.
On Easter weekend, great point.
Do you ever hear people how they throw around numbers so loosely? I mean, like some guy on X today said there was only 50,000 people at Bristol. I'm like, 50,000 people. You can tell they're old because 50,000 at Busch Stadium, that's a World Series crowd. Mm-hmm. This place is packed.
Bristol has a space problem. Like right? Like, you look at, a 10,000 seat Bowman Gray packed versus a 50,000 seat Bristol is like, well, you sold more tickets, probably made more money ticket sales at Bristol than you did at Bowman Gray, but it looks better at Bristol and it looks better at Bowman Gray because it's just packed. So it's just, Bristol has an issue of being just so big from a stands point of view, which kind of is part of the appeal of it being this like Coliseum like thing that it's good. How good you have to be outside of like, if you're a deep set, like an SEC or like a high level college football team, like NFL teams don't sell out every week unless they're good, or like, they're one of the historic, like, unless they're good. And I'm not here saying NASCAR is not good. I'm just saying it's hard to sell out a 200,000 seat arena.
Mm-hmm.
What, it's just hard. Unless your name's Taylor Swift, you're really not going to do it. It's just, let's be real.
Is that what are our topics? You got any more topics?
We got one more.
We're talking about Rockingham, and we have one more. All right. So Casey Kane is returning, as mentioned, and we had Casey Mears come back. Casey's trying to get to the 500 Cup starts. I figured this was an appropriate topic. If you could pick the series, it doesn't matter. Anybody out there that you would love to see? I think we can get rid of the obvious of Carl Edwards. I feel like that would be everyone's first choice or one of the first choices. But if you could pick a guy to get back in the Xfinity Series or the Cup Series, who would you love to see get back out there and maybe do a one-off, do race a couple times? It depends, whatever you want to see.
I tell you who I'd like to see, and he's right next to me. The man himself, the Herminator, Kenny Wallace.
Hey, yeah,
come on, Kenny, one more at Richmond. Come on, let's do it.
I would love
Junior.
I would love to run Rockingham. I'd run it in a heartbeat if I was in a good car. It's my last win. Let me
come on, Dale.
Rock, yeah, it's right. Listen, this is a topic too. I asked Clint Boyer one time. I said, "What is the deal with you guys?" Clint Boyer, Ryan Newman, all these guys quit at 42. This phenomenon where all the drivers quit at 42. These guys can still drive. And Clint Boyer said, "Kenny, I started racing at like 6 years old. In my day, we started at 16, 17 years old, and you race till you're 50. Nowadays, these guys start at 8 and 10 years old. Man, they're exhausted. They're just exhausted."
Well, Newman's shown it in the modified stuff. He just won recently.
Yes. And he beats the best because he's still young. And in their feature races, it ain't like we're going 500 miles. But yeah, these guys can easily be done with Cup and Xfinity. They can easily retire from NASCAR and go down to the lower levels, which are not lower. It's just that not everybody can be in NASCAR. Dale Sr. said it perfect to me. He goes, "Herman, I'll never forget, Earnhardt picked me up in his motorhome. I was living in my double wide in Concord, North Carolina. And motorhomes were becoming a big deal. And Earnhardt calls me, "Herman, I'm gonna stop by and pick you up." I said, "All right." And he said something I'll never forget. He says, "There are thousands of great race car drivers all around America. They all can't be in NASCAR. There's not enough starting positions." So when you see a Ryan Newman go down, is he really going down, or it's just those guys are that good? They just, they might have got their girl pregnant. They might not have been able to get out of town. Not everybody can make it to NASCAR.
Get divorced.
Mm-hmm. So my point is who would I want to see back? That was insane. Did you hear the interview with Dale Jr. and Carl Edwards? He said he quit because the son of a bitch threw that caution.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And of course I knew, that deal I did a 12-minute take. I said he left with a broken heart, got 980,000 views. So here he left NASCAR because they threw that caution, and he realized they controlled his championship. Then he hit his head, and then he had voices in his head saying, "You're doing the wrong thing." To me, that was the one that was unbelievable. He had voices in his head said, "You have a bigger purpose. You don't need to be racing anymore." And all of us are listening to this and are like, holy crap. So it'd be awesome to see him come back. Casey Kane's racing. He races every week.
Oh, yeah.
Casey Kane runs dirt. Yeah, but dirt's hot.
Yeah.
You ever gone to those things?
Mm-hmm. I have been. Well, I've never been to I've been to a bunch of AMA flat track races. That's the dirt racing I've been at. Yeah, well, but I've never been to a sprint car race.
Casey Kane is still racing at an extremely high level. High limit dirt wing sprint cars. These are the most dangerous race cars in the world. So Casey's, he tested there. I'd like to see Carl Edwards because I can see Casey race every week.
I'd love to see. I know he does drag, and him and his NASCAR relationship has been frayed. I'd love to see Tony Stewart get an Xfinity Series. I think I would just love to see it. I would love to see Tony Stewart back because he's Tony Stewart, and that would be fun. I think that's the name. Brian Newman was a good one.
Yeah,
I think Wrestling Cave brings up Jamie Mack. I think Jamie McMurray would be a fun one too.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
By the way, Brian, this is the wrong driver I was referring to. I'm just going to leave it at that and not. I was not talking about that driver. But Brian Vickers could be not a bad choice.
Yeah.
Did he fix his blood situation? He had health issues. He kept bleeding real easily. He had to quit racing because
I don't think he did. I think he's still got that issue going on.
I guess that's why he never came back. Also you get out of a top ride, and someone else gonna fill it. It's gonna be tough to come back.
Your topic is spot on, and I'll add to this, and I've said this all the time. One of our biggest issues is we quit producing superstars, and I don't know if it's social media. Maybe all the drivers make social media videos, and you can see their homes and you can see their motorhomes. Years ago, everybody was like you didn't know them, so people were just lined up at these autograph sessions. Nowadays, like I see them. There's their children. They're at home. There's his motorhome, But do you remember a couple of years ago when 3, 4? My time flies. Kyle Larson won the championship, and they said, "Kyle Larson, how has your life changed?" He goes, "It's really disappointing." He says, "Went to New York, nobody even noticed me." No. That right there is what I've always said is wrong with our sport. Mike Helton, I was talking to Mike Helton yesterday. He said, "Herman, I need a favor." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I need you to tell Schrader and Dale Jr." He said, "I want you to come to some of the ISC races." See, I do the SMI races for Trackside Live. He said, "I want you, Schrader, and Dale Jr. once a month come to Talladega, come whatever, and we want you guys outside. And we want 2 of the old drivers." Even NASCAR knows that it's the old drivers that attract crowds. You don't even know these guys now. It's sad.
I wonder, the superstar making movement got robbed from Kyle Larson last year because of Mother Nature. If he's
does the double,
if he completes the double, and he's going to have, what is it? Amazon Prime is going to have the video, right? So
the documentary.
So let's say he does the double this year, and is successful, and then that doc comes out and it's successful, which it could be. I think that's your superstar. I think it's Kyle Larson, because people like winners, and if you want to pick a guy who wins, Kyle Larson ain't a bad choice, and that would be. But that's a really good point. Another person I thought of, and he just raced in the Race of Champions and did a really good job, was Kyle Busch.
You're stealing my pick there, Trey.
Oh, sorry.
Pick the guy.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Kurt Busch, because he had an unceremonious ending to his NASCAR career, and
still was winning races too.
I know he was still very competitive. I'd love to see. I don't know if he'll ever be cleared to do so or not, or if he'd even want to. But
his path would be Xfinity, just a shorter race.
Yeah, I'd love to see him just come back and end it on his own terms. I think that'd be really cool.
Who's the most popular driver in the Cup Series right now? Why isn't he at Rockingham?
Wait a minute.
If the
who
Cup
actually
Series
is, or who's the one that gets voted? Because I think there's a difference.
Well, I got to tell you, I see the analytics all the time.
I think it's Denny.
I interview Denny Hamlin all day long, and they hate him. They won't even watch him on the show, and he's a dear friend of mine.
And then I would say,
I think it's Larson. I think Larson's.
I think it's Larson.
It's Larson or Chase. I know people. It's like, oh, people vote for him. It's like, yeah, but I swear to you, man, every time I hear his name get introduced on a stage for pre-race introductions, there is no other driver that gets more cheers. Still, after everything,
than Chase Elliott.
Yeah,
and he was in the Xfinity race at Darlington.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be. I wish he was at Rockingham.
To me, there's only one man that moves the needle. All these Cup drivers,
Kenny Wallace.
all these Cup drivers, none of them move the needle. None of them. They don't. There's one driver that moves the needle. It's Dale Jr.
That's right.
Yeah. They went to Wilkesboro for a late model stock race and just packed it.
Stole it out.
They went down to Florence, sold $1 million worth of late model stock, Budweiser number 8 stuff, because he reminds them of the old days.
And he's been retired for 8 years.
Mhm.
Like that's a problem right there. When the biggest superstar I think has been retired from Cup racing at least for 8 years. But
So I mean, we're talking about Rockingham, and that's the topic, you know. So
yeah,
why are we going back to why are we going back to Wilkesboro? Why are we going back to Bowman Gray? Hey, Ben Kennedy just told the Charlotte Observer that if the next 2 years go good at Rockingham, Cup Series is going back.
Mhm.
I mean, that Adam Stern just reported that yesterday. So it's you know, it's all our old fans rule. You know, thank you guys are like diamond in the roughs. You guys are awesome because you're last in the Mohicans. I got a 24-year-old kid. We got a Kenny conversation coming up, and we're going to label it 24-year-old NASCAR fan. They're unheard of.
Yeah,
I think I was Mass and I, well, Dalton too. We're all lucky because we grew. I think a big part of it is we grew up driving distance from a Cup Series track. I grew up 20 minutes from Richmond.
Yeah.
They would do the race on my birthday, the weekend of my birthday, you know. And you talk about the guy that moves the needle. I loved me some Bud 8, okay, and he won on my birthday, and so that was like it was sealed the deal. He's my man. So I get it. I mean, you're probably right. Ultimately, Dale does more than anyone else, and it's good for the sport that Dale's still around because he has every right to be like, I'm out, and and just retire and live his merry life however he wanted to. But he loves it so much, and when it gives back so much, I think it's good that he what he does.
I seem to remember Door Bumper Clear referring to him as NASCAR Jesus one time, and I don't think I have ever heard a nickname that fits him more than that. He truly is like the second coming for NASCAR fans. But
because he reminds them of the number 3.
Yeah, well, he reminds him of nostalgia. It's nostalgia. I mean, me too, right? I mean, every time when I saw that 8 car get revealed, I had emotions too, just like everyone else. But here's the problem: is that you can't keep relying on Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah,
you got to have a new guy. And as much as Chase Elliott is popular, he's not superstardom worldwide known. If you show that 8 car somewhere in Europe, that Bud 8 car, there's a good chance that people still will recognize it in somewhere in Europe. But if you show that number 9 Napa car, not everyone's going to remember that.
All right. Well, we got to get on out of here because it's supposed to be a happy hour, and we've gone a little.
When was the last time we were under an hour?
That's true. I mean,
it's been weeks.
That's true.
Months.
It's been a lot of fun. Kenny, we want to thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Anything you want to plug before we get on out of here? You have 600 folders, so we figured you got something that you want to promote.
So the 600 folders are to tell you. Are we just ignoring topics? Trey says. I'm like, yeah. Where's the topics? Look here, guys. Listen here. We all love the sport. Schrader and myself are going to Rockingham this Thursday, downtown Rockingham, 7 to 9. Marshall Tucker Band's going to be there. Earnhardt's my man. Dalton's pointing at the number.
This guy's going to be there too.
Michael's going to be there. So come on out, everybody. Thursday, 4 to 9. It's going to be a good time downtown Rockingham. And then on Friday, before the truck race, Schrader and I will be there talking, signing autographs, and they're going to drop the green flag for the trucks. What, at 5? They do not have lights. Yeah. And then Saturday, I think is that PRN or MRN radio?
It would be.
I would imagine be MRN, wouldn't it?
MRN because there's a NASCAR track, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Rockingham's a NASCAR track.
Not really either.
But they're basically combined now for the truck series.
The trucks they are. Yeah, they're combined.
Yeah. So
I think that's it, guys. Kyle Petty charity rides coming up. Send them some money.
We had a great conversation with Kyle Petty last week for Bringing the Heat with Brian Nolan. Bringing the Heat, Brian Nolan this week. That'll be the next podcast out on, I guess, Thursday at this point. But Michael, are you writing this week? Are you doing your job this week?
I am. I'm not writing anything just yet, but I'm going down to South Carolina on Thursday to Jeremy Clemens' shop, and I'm gonna ride in the hauler with them. We're gonna be putting out a video where I'm gonna be shadowing the hauler driver all week. Rockingham,
That
watching
poor
the
hauler
team.
driver.
We're gonna do a behind the scenes thing.
Pray for him, folks. Please pray for him.
Either we're gonna have a great time or we're gonna be ready to kill each other.
Yeah, but then you're doing the same thing to Mexico, right?
Yeah, you're going to drive the hauler.
Yeah, no, you're riding
You're
the
gonna
hauler
drive
to
it.
Mexico.
No, he's driving the hauler to Mexico.
He's driving the hauler to
Hey, I'm running third right now.
Oh, yeah. By the way, this is
I think this is the finish right here.
there's 2 to go. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, let's watch.
Yeah. No,
Watch
we
this.
need a live reaction here. Come on.
Watch this. The 10 runs out of gas.
Trey, move your camera. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Watch this. Watch me. I'm running third. Watch. I go around the outside of these some bitches.
Jeff Green's leading.
Watch this. This is awesome.
Oh, is it a green white? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Look.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He ran out of gas.
Yeah, and then that's Matt Kenseth right on my ass. So the 10 of Jeff Green's the leading. His teammate, Jason Keller's behind him. So he runs out of gas, and he's like, oh, no, he moves left, and I go high. We come in for 4 tires. We put on 4 tires. So we were running like third or fourth anyway, and there it is, boys.
That was
and then the next day, I sat on the pole for the Cup race in the Pennzoil car, and friggin' Joe Nemechek beat me out of the pits. He short pitted, and I run second. But that was the week that rocked. I won the Xfinity race, and I run second in the Cup race in the Pennzoil car because Steve Park got hurt. Hey, good job, Trey.
Thanks, man. Google is a great tool. 2001. It was the 2001 Xfinity race at Rockingham. The 2001 Sam's Club 200 at Rockingham, which was won by a young Kenny Wallace.
Yeah.
So
you sync that up perfectly. You're like at the 1 hour 11 mark.
Yeah.
We'll be coming to 2 to go. Restart.
that on purpose. I nailed that. This is my goal. My goal was to end it.
Had a 1600 in the right front, 1300 in the left front. I ran a lot of people run a 375 in the right rear. I had a 350 in the right rear, 325 in the left rear.
Oh my goodness.
Had like 1 1/8 bar, 49.5 cross.
Look at that guy.
The track bar on the left rear was like 9 1/8, and then 10 1/8 right rear. You know where he kicked their ass? We had some really good shocks. The Olenses were coming out at that time, and those
Harvick
Olens
won the title. That's why he's burning out too.
Olens. Harvick won the title.
Mm-hmm.
And was that the last race of the year? Did he win the title? He won the title. Here we talk about putting on a good show. He won the title, and there were still races left in the season. That's why we're at where we're at, boys.
Yeah.
There was one more race. That was the second to last race of the year.
And what didn't Matt Kenseth win it before the year was over or not? Something was going on there.
So. 03? Yeah.
It was 01. Joe Nemechek won in Homestead.
What 01 they had that New Hampshire race. Did Busch go there too?
No, I don't think so. 33 of 33 was Joe Nemechek.
Because they had the New Hampshire race that was like after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that got moved because of
and Kenny, you finished 25th in that race.
Which race was this?
Homestead. That was the week after.
Xfinity?
Yes, in 2001. It was the last race of the season.
I like that track. I like Homestead.
That was when it was still flat. It didn't have the banking that it does
flat.
now. Yeah.
God. Drivers remember goofy stuff. The very first race at Homestead, when it was shaped like Indy, I had dominated that race. I mean, led every damn lap and coming to the checkered flag or coming to the white flag. Larry Pearson had been out of his car the whole race. And he got back in the car because he ran into Hermie Sadler, and then Hermie ran into me. And then they changed the track. Ain't that crazy? We thought, then they redesigned all these tracks. Redesign that track, redesign Atlanta 2 times.
Yeah.
Would they think they should tear down Bristol, redesign it?
No.
Let's turn it into a road course super speedway.
Please don't put dirt on it, okay? Let's just not that again.
I think we have ebbs and flows. A couple of years, this track will be great, and this track stinks. A couple of years later, another like Kansas.
Yeah,
Kansas used to be considered boring. Now it's like considered one of the best tracks.
in 2 weeks from now, we'll
it's
have
just-
Talladega, and people say that
Yeah.
Bristol is the best track on the circuit again.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? They shut down these incredible racetracks. Like Chicagoland is like beautiful.
Mhm.
Shut it down. My buddy
Kentucky.
lives up there. He showed me an aerial view. He's got an SR22, John. He lives on the north side. He's a good pilot. He showed me some pictures. It's like it's sickening. I mean, that's how much money there is in sport. Just shut down a billion-dollar racetrack, and then shut down Kentucky. The best track on the circuit ended up being California, and they shut it down. It's like, damn, there's a lot of money in this sport.
Yeah.
Shut down those trillion-dollar racetracks and went back to Bowman Gray.
Crazy.
There you go, boys. Now we're going back to Rockingham.
Well, all right, that will do for this episode. Dalton, are you writing thinking this week? Yes.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Thinking out loud this week. No show next week because of Easter weekend, right? No,
Yeah,
we're
we'll
not doing a
take
show next week.
off.
All right, we'll take next week off because of no race, and then we'll be back in
Only
2
off
weeks.
week we got. So
Yeah, it's the only off week we got, so we're going to take advantage of it. Kenny, thanks so much again. Please, you're welcome back anytime. At M_Massey22 at Pitlane CPT. You can of course follow Kenny Wallace at Kenny_Wallace. That will do it for this episode of Happy Hour.